On the 6 o'clock news, from coronavirus vaccine mandates to possible changes in healthcare, we're going one-on-one with a professor to get some answers to questions you have been asking.
Professor Kevin Vance of Clemson University joining us live now at 6 o'clock. Thank you for being with us on this chilly night. COVID vaccines going to be distributed soon, which of course is welcome news. Could people be required to receive that shot?
Well, there is a 1905 Supreme Court case where the Supreme Court said that states did have the power to require vaccinations. That doesn't mean that it would be prudent, but it does mean it would be constitutional. And the Supreme Court said we do have fundamental unwritten liberties, but that doesn't mean a liberty to do anything we want without any restraints whatsoever.
You know, President Trump, he can get pardons. We're going to talk about that right now because it's all the talk has been lately. All outgoing presidents, they issue them. It's not new. It's not something new with President Trump, but something that could be different. Can he actually pardon himself? And if so, what does that mean?
Well, Trump certainly seems to think so. He thinks that the pardon power is absolute, and so that suggests that he does think it includes the power to pardon himself. The Supreme Court has never addressed that question directly, and constitutional scholars disagree. Some think that the text of the Constitution is open-ended, and so it does include this power of self-pardon, and others think that it would undermine the fundamental rule of law principle that one should never be the judge in one's own case. But even if it is constitutional, that doesn't mean that it would be prudent or proper.
And what do you think? Any presidential election lawsuits? Do you think that'll actually make it to the Supreme Court?
It seems unlikely. There's a few things that are trickling up, possibly in Pennsylvania or maybe even Georgia, but in those cases, which would be purely procedural, it looks like any remedy would only affect future elections going forward. And so nothing dealing with the presidential election this year.
And you know, Dr. Vance, there was talk of court packing during the campaign. They used that during the campaign. Do you expect this would happen, and what would it take to add more justices to the Supreme Court?
So the Constitution says there has to be a Supreme Court and there has to be a Chief Justice, but it doesn't tell us how many other justices there need to be. And so that's a matter entirely for the law and for Congress. And we do have a long tradition, 150 years, of having 9 justices on the court. And I think at this point, given the fact that the Senate is closely divided and given that Joe Manchin, the West Virginia Democratic senator, has already said he would oppose court packing, it seems like that's off the table for at least 2 years.
Now let's switch to healthcare. Major concern for so many people out there. Are there any pending cases before the High Court that could impact healthcare? And how could the Biden administration and new Congress try to reshape our healthcare system?
There is a big case before the Supreme Court this term, and it deals with the constitutionality of the Affordable Care Act. Because back in 2011, the Supreme Court upheld the individual mandate by saying that it was constitutional under Congress's taxing power, but not under the interstate commerce power. And since that time, Congress has changed the tax to 0. And so now the question is the individual mandate still constitutional with the tax at 0? And if it's not, can it be severed from the rest of the Affordable Care Act to make the rest of the bill unconstitutional or leave it intact? And based on oral argument last month, it seems extremely likely that the Supreme Court is going to leave it in place, at least the rest of the law, and there won't be any big changes from the court when it comes to health care. But on the political side, again, given the closely divided Senate, I would guess that the big ticket items for Biden, like the Medicare expansion or the public option, are probably also off the table for 2 years, but there could certainly be some reworking of some of the executive level administrative regulations.
All right, Dr. Vance, good to have you back on here, and we'll see you again hopefully soon. And if you missed any of our interview, you can watch it inside our Fox Carolina News app. We'll have this turned, and he'll be on our Facebook page and also on YouTube as well. So stay with us for continuing coverage.